In early June 2016, I embarked on a road trip with my 10-year-old son, Jake, to visit our family in West Virginia. The drive was quite arduous and stressful, especially since my car's air conditioning was not functioning, making the scorching day even more uncomfortable. As we reached the 5-hour mark, tensions began to rise due to the heat and the strain of the journey. By the time darkness fell, around 10:00 p.m., we were still on the interstate when Jake urgently requested a bathroom break. The constant complaints amplified the existing tension, leading to a minor argument between us. Without disclosing personal details, the argument escalated and we fell silent. Noticing a blue rest area sign whiz past us on the interstate, I swiftly veered off the road and pulled into the rest area. The small facility consisted of a building with 2 bathrooms, a couple of vending machines, and a few benches. Apart from a large white pickup truck parked nearby, there were no other vehicles in sight. As Jake hurriedly exited the car and dashed towards the bathroom, I left the engine running, anticipating his swift return. Following the uncomfortable exchange between us, I assumed the remainder of the journey would be filled with silence. However, merely a minute after Jake entered the bathroom, the back door suddenly swung open. Uncertain of what to say or do, I remained silent and continued driving. I noticed that the white pickup truck, which had been parked nearby, was also leaving. In fact, it began closely tailing my car. Returning to the interstate and shifting to the left lane, the pickup truck mimicked my actions. When I slightly accelerated, so did the truck, its headlights flashing in an aggressive manner. Assuming the driver was simply an aggressive motorist, I switched to the right lane. However, to my surprise, the truck followed suit, continuing to flash its lights. Feeling uneasy, I moved back to the right lane and began decelerating. The pickup truck maintained its position in the middle lane, and upon catching up to me, the driver slowed down and rolled down his window. I did the same, and he started shouting something at me while pointing at my car. Initially, I couldn't make out his words, but he gestured for me to pull over. In my mind, I urged myself to remain calm and prepared to accelerate if the situation took a dangerous turn. The pickup truck pulled up behind me on the grass, and the driver rushed towards my car. My heart raced as I readied myself to drive away. However, he suddenly yelled, "Wait!" Reaching my window, he exclaimed, "That's not your kid," and pointed to the back seat. Confused, I asked, "What do you mean?" He reiterated, "That's not your kid. Someone else got in your car." In that instant, the back right side door swung open, and I turned to see a stranger stepping out of my car, not my son Jake. The fully grown man vanished into the nearby woods before I could react. Stunned by the situation, I expressed my gratitude to the pickup truck driver for intervening. Overwhelmed with concern for Jake's safety, I got back into my car, yelling for him as I contemplated the potential danger he might have faced. We hastily returned to the rest area, with the pickup truck following closely behind. Within a mere 30 seconds, the driver reached us, finding Jake waiting outside the restroom. Relieved, Jake climbed back into the car, clearly bewildered by the events that had unfolded. Still catching my breath, I explained everything to him. The pickup truck driver recounted the incident as well. Expressing my sincere gratitude once more, the driver returned to. Last year, I embarked on a road trip to visit my family. After finishing work, I hit the road, knowing I had about a 10-hour drive ahead of me. I estimated that I would arrive at my destination around midnight. The majority of my journey took place on well-lit and easily navigable freeways, so I felt confident about the drive. Things went smoothly until around 12 or 1 o'clock at night. I found myself in a sparsely populated rural area, surrounded by wilderness on both sides of the freeway. There were only a few other vehicles sharing the road with me at that late hour. As I continued driving, relying on the directions from my phone and enjoying music through Spotify and Bluetooth, a voice from the navigation app alerted me that there was a road closure up ahead. It seemed I would have to take a detour. Although slightly annoyed, I hoped it wouldn't add too much extra time to my journey. A minute later, my music abruptly stopped playing. Glancing at my phone, I noticed I had lost all signal. I must have entered a dead zone, a not entirely unexpected occurrence. A few minutes later, I reached the point of the detour. I took the specified exit, finding myself on a quiet, smaller road that seemed to be in the middle of nowhere. While driving on this unfamiliar road, I kept my eyes on the directions displayed on my phone. It indicated that I would need to remain on this road for 4 miles. However, shortly thereafter, the map suddenly ceased to function. I was left without any signal whatsoever. Undeterred, I continued driving, attempting to follow the most logical path that would lead me back to the freeway. After a couple of miles, I began looking for left turns. When I spotted the first one, I made the maneuver, convinced it was the road I was supposed to take. Similar to the previous road, this one was eerily quiet. My speed decreased, and the darkness enveloped me. Approximately 10 minutes later, I noticed something ahead of me. As I drew closer, I slowed down significantly. A massive branch lay across the road, almost blocking the entire path. It struck me as peculiar, since there weren't any overhanging trees in the vicinity. As I was about to step out of my car to move the branch, an inexplicable urge prompted me to glance to my right. To my astonishment, about 20 feet away, a man emerged from the woods, steadily approaching my vehicle. An overwhelming feeling of unease washed over me, compelling me to leave the area immediately. I swiftly shifted my car into reverse, executed a U-turn, and accelerated away from that unsettling scene. I eventually rejoined the previous road, driving for about 30 minutes until I regained cellular service. Once I had a signal, I wasted no time in dialing the non-emergency number of the local police, informing them about the suspicious individual. Although this incident delayed my arrival by approximately an hour, I was relieved to have reached my destination safely. The image of that man emerging from the woods will forever be etched in my memory. I remain convinced that he deliberately placed the fallen branch on the road to entice unsuspecting travelers to stop and exit their vehicles. My hope is that no one else fell victim to his dangerous ploy. About 5 years ago, I received an invitation to a wedding that was a daunting 14-hour drive away. In an effort to save some money, I made the decision to embark on the long journey by car instead of opting for a flight. Initially, I had set a goal to complete the entire drive in a single day, but as fatigue began to overwhelm me around the 10-hour mark, I realized it would be dangerous to continue. Recognizing the need for rest, I pulled off the highway when I spotted a sign for a rest stop. It was late at night, and the area seemed serene and secluded. The rest stop consisted of a solitary building with a dimly lit interior housing a bathroom, a few vending machines, and some information flyers. Exhausted and with limited accommodation options in the immediate vicinity, I knew I had to find a place to rest. After using the restroom, I returned to my car and reclined the seats, intending to get some sleep. Despite typically finding it uncomfortable to sleep in a car, fatigue consumed me, and I swiftly drifted into a deep slumber. However, my sleep was abruptly interrupted by a faint noise in the middle of the night. In a half-asleep daze, I strained to make sense of the sound, realizing it was someone attempting to open my driver's side door. Suddenly alert, I adjusted my seat to an upright position and peered out the window, but there was no one in sight except for the empty parking lot. Although perplexed, I dismissed it as a figment of my imagination, trying to reassure myself that all was well. I lingered in the car for a while, hoping to spot any signs of unusual activity, but found none. Eventually, I reclined my seat again, making an effort to return to sleep. However, An unsettling feeling enveloped me, rendering rest impossible. Glancing at my phone, I discovered it was already 6 o'clock in the morning. Determined to proceed with my journey, I resolved to enter the rest stop and grab a drink before hitting the road. As I stepped out of the building, the dim lighting revealed a faint figure crouching beneath my car. Struggling to discern the details in the darkness, I witnessed an arm hastily retracting from behind the tire, hiding beneath my vehicle. Alarmed and fearful, I swiftly retreated back into the rest stop, seeking refuge in one of the bathroom stalls. The empty parking lot and the absence of any other individuals within the rest stop intensified my unease. Hoping the person lurking outside would depart, I decided to wait inside the stall for a while. However, the more I ruminated on the situation, the more terror gripped me. Suddenly, the door to the rest stop swung open, and I heard the distinct sound of footsteps entering the premises. My heart sank as I instinctively lifted my feet off the ground, preparing for the worst in case the intruder entered the bathroom. The individual roamed around for a brief period before drawing closer, finally stepping into the restroom. Fear coursed through me as I clutched the stall door tightly from the inside. In a state of dread, I listened as the person ventured further into the bathroom, passing my stall and proceeding to the others. Then, to my horror, I heard them lowering themselves to the floor. It became apparent they were about to inspect each stall, trying to determine my location. Realizing I had to act swiftly, I made a decision. Gripping the bathroom stall door tightly, I flung it open as quietly as I could and bolted out. As I made my escape, I could hear the person rising from the floor, giving chase to me. Fueled by adrenaline and panic, I sprinted towards my car, my heart pounding in my chest. The chilling sound of a man's deranged screams echoed through the air, sending shivers down my spine. Every instinct told me to reach safety as quickly as possible. Reaching my car, I yanked open the door, hastily jumping inside and locking it with trembling hands. Without hesitation, I turned the key in the ignition, the engine roaring to life. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror, and there he was, the man, enraged and potentially dangerous, closing in on me with menacing strides. Fear gripping my entire being, I slammed my foot on the accelerator, propelling the car forward with an urgency I had never known before. The tires screeched as I peeled out of the rest stop, leaving behind the terrifying figure in my rearview mirror. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I accelerated away, desperate to put as much distance between us as possible. The minutes ticked by in a blur as I drove with a mix of terror and determination. Thoughts raced through my mind, questioning the motives of the person who had targeted me. What had they intended to do? I shuddered at the possibilities, grateful that I had managed to evade their grasp. Safety and the need to reach my destination consumed my every thought.